Hey, friends, and welcome back to another episode of the H&F Podcast.
Hey, friends.
So, how are you?
I'm honestly still in shock, like, that 2020 has come and gone.
I don't know. I think I feel good about it.
I mean, not that I feel bad or good about it, but it's done and over with. And
Whew. Like, you supposed to, hold on, we got to exhale. Let's do it.
deep breath in.
Okay.
Let it out.
Yes, let it out.
Shake it off.
Shake it off. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm still excited about it. But speaking of 2021 and being in a new year, we want to say thank you guys for answering our questions. So last episode, we asked you guys to name one word. We did say one word, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could have said multiple.
Well, yeah. So we asked you guys to give us one word that you would use to describe your 2021, and we want to share what you guys said. You want to kick it off? No? Okay. So the prompt on Instagram said, choose one word to define the upcoming year. Y'all had some really, really good answers, by the way. I don't think you wrote on the answer, but I guess you said it in the last episode. So go back and check that. Shameless plug.
I've probably changed it since then anyway.
So Brisha Vale says complete. She says, I want to be a finisher this year and finish everything I start. And I also want to be complete and whole in every area of my life. And y'all must have really liked that because it got so many likes on the comments. I like that. I like that a lot. I think it's important to feel whole in all areas of life.
Yeah, it's really legit a state of mind to feel whole.
Yeah. Next up, we got Ambria. She said intentional.
I think all of us could
learn the lesson about being intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, for the most part, to set your intentions and, just stop doing stuff willy-nilly.
Yeah, definitely. Tanae says, grace. I'm going to learn to give myself grace as someone who is always pushing towards a new goal and expecting myself to do it with a few flaws. I'm often unsatisfied with what is in the present, so I'll be giving myself enough grace to stop believing that what I have to do in order to be satisfied and learn to fall in love with just being.
Yeah. Ooh, that's deep. I mean, I think just being present in the moment, like not thinking about where you're going next necessarily, but
yeah, really
enjoying those moments.
We're going to have to put a pin in that one because we're actually going to be talking about something similar today. So shout out to you for recognizing that. Next up, we have Maya. If anything in 2020 has taught me that you can make plans and God laughs, but going into 2021, I just want to learn and grow as much as possible. So I'm going to name 2021 the year of healing.
The year of healing. Yeah. I mean, and like she said, God will sometime laugh at your plans. So I think it's really important to start consulting him with your plans and actually asking him and giving them to him because he'll make them better. I know, like, I have a couple of friends where, they'll be like, oh, I asked God, should I go there? And God told me no, and, like, something just happens, right?
Right.
I'm not necessarily there on my faith walk yet, but I think it's definitely admirable.
Definitely. Next up, Asia says discernment. If I could double tap that right now, I would. Discernment. That is we all have discernment. It was this prompt I saw earlier, and it was like, do women naturally have this innate ability for discernment, or is discernment different from a woman's intuition?
I probably would say it's
one and the same.
Yeah.
I think it's one and the same.
I think it's just a matter if you decide to follow it or not.
Yeah, definitely. Ooh, yeah, definitely. Okay. So, yeah, we got overflow, self-care, alignment, abundance, and pursuit. I'm going to pursue everything I want. I like that. Thank you guys so much for sharing with us.
And I think a lot of what we're talking about, or even naming your year of what that really means, is to really think about something that you want to embody and how you will act that out in the new year and what that really looks like for you, because it looks very differently for everybody else. Because even if you think about something as far as discernment, for me, that could literally mean that I'm going to make sure that I'm checking in with myself, and that when I hear, if I want to say the Holy Spirit, or if I'm hearing, this other voice in my head, or whatever you want to call it, am I actually answering to this call? Versus that could be like, oh, I just need to discern between the men that I talk to. Like, if I get a red flag off top, I'm not talking to them, right?
True. I think that's just a matter of saying yes to yourself and no to others, just knowing who you are. But that's another topic for another day. So, y'all, today we want to kind of talk about destination happiness. Can we call it the destination happiness syndrome? Could that be a syndrome?
I mean, we not doctors, so we can't really just.
But I mean, if we wanted to title it that for now, for the purposes of this show, we're going to call it a syndrome because I do feel like it's something that a lot of people struggle with. And we name everything else as a little disease, toxicity, and we make jokes about that. So this is a syndrome.
Okay.
All right.
All right, Dr. Carter.
So what are your thoughts on destination happiness? Well, what comes to mind first when you think about that?
I would say, like, I know I didn't coin it, but, like, I would actually say that that's who I am. That I've always been one of those people that I'm constantly, like, chasing the next thing. And I guess I wouldn't always equate it with happiness, but in a certain sense, it is happiness, right? Because I'm never right there to really stop. I'll be like, oh, that flower is beautiful, but I'm not going to go smell it because I need to go see what the next flowers are down the road.
So you're one of them people who don't celebrate in the moment ever.
Because I'm trying to figure out what I should be doing next.
I think I'm like half and half. So like I'm gonna celebrate you my best friend. Like I'm the turn up one. So I'm going to celebrate in the moment, and then I'm gonna immediately start working on something else. But I think I actually take the time to stop and smell the flowers.
Yeah, I think for me it was at first it was an adrenaline rush, where I felt like I needed to constantly keep going. I needed to achieve. I needed to do this, and this needed to be next. And what did this look like? And, by a certain age, I had all of these milestones for a certain age that I needed to reach, by
So you're the
25.
list girl. I was the list girl.
Yeah, and I needed to check it off, and it needed to feel, like, oh, okay, I accomplished this. And so, what I came to is, it all looked good on paper, but, like, deep down inside, I was never really stopping to really be in the moment, to really be happy, to celebrate these moments, or even sometimes to rest, because I'm like, when I do this, then I can do that. Or when I do this, then I can rest. Like, it was always like a constant reward to what was going to be next in my life, instead of saying, like...
But I feel like, not to cut you off, I feel like society plays a part in that.
I mean, I think more so of, mine is more so growing up.
So it's personal.
It's personal that, you always need to get all A's. My mom, she ain't play about academics. Like,
y'all, Tanisha was super smart. Was you valedictorian? What were you?
No, I started rebelling a little bit, but I was number 4.
Well,
so
she was class. Really... she was class president. Go ahead.
And I did all of these things, and really excited. Oh, I really wanted to go to a HBCU. No, you're going to go to the number 1 public institution in the nation. I really wanted to do all of these things, or I wanted to major in this, I wanted to major in that. But what does all of these things look like? Oh, that's not necessarily a good major, or this isn't that. And so really trying to navigate and figure out what those things look like, I was always constantly chasing something else because it didn't always...
But do you think that's attributed to, like, because you said it was personal, so you feel like this is a you thing, or did you have factors that played a part into that? Was it like family? Did you have anybody else that attributed to you feeling like this wasn't enough? Like, I still got to do more?
I think it was twofold, because growing up in a household of, wanting to be perfect. And not that my mother ever made me feel like I needed to be perfect, but excellence was always an expectation in the protocol of what you do, how you act. You act like a lady. You wear your hair like this. You do that.
See, that's different for me. I feel like excellent was it was a thing in my household too, but I wish I had like that part, the act like a lady, do the thing. But shout out to my father because he did a good job by himself.
He did. Shout out to my And so I think that whole excellence things of what it looks like and buying into the American dream of, you graduate high school, you go to college, you graduate college, you get married.
But when did that become the American dream? Like, okay, back in the days, our parents had trades in high school. You do the hair thing. You could be a cook. You could do, like, you learn stuff, like, you learn soft skills, lifestyle skills in high school. But then they took that out of the school. So, like, when do you feel like the American dream switched to, actually, this is what it is? Or you actually think that was what it was?
I think when Black people reach new heights and they're able to kind of adjust and they fit into white society or what is normal for them, then that becomes the norm, right? And it's like every time we achieve at a certain level, they change the locks to make it higher or to make the stakes higher, that we need to keep going. Because now, like, the bachelor's degree is like a high school diploma, but that's because of the rate.
Well, it wasn't free.
It wasn't free. But just the rate that black people are now achieving it, you know, the value of it has gone down because now black people are achieving at that level. And so when you just kind of think of what it looks like to make it in America, or, you know, oh, I need to be making 6 figures or whatever. And, you know, I'm like, okay, at 26, I made 6 figures. I'm done with that. Like, now what
and then
do I
you get 6 figures and be like, dang, this ain't even really a lot.
Right. And then you're like, okay, I need to move to 8 figures. And so it's just like one of those things that I think we're programmed and conditioned to believe that we need to reach a certain status, and I'll be happy once I reach that certain status.
Yeah, but I think for like, okay, I'm not even going to debate that because I think that's absolutely correct. But sometimes I don't think it's just based on the American dream. So like, even with you saying that it's personal, it could be like, this is a woman's podcast. So in all transparency, you know, we got women here that are aging, and so destination happiness to them could look like when I have a family, like when I become a mother, when I become a wife, then I'll be happy.
But you got to think societal norms. You go home for Christmas, Thanksgiving, and somebody asking you, "Are you married?"
Can we please stop asking people that? Like, no, when you gonna bring somebody home? If I just didn't show up with somebody, I'm not bringing nobody home. Obviously.
I know. Or even, you know, when are you having children? You're not getting any younger type of thing, right? And in our generation, people are having less children, and they're starting at a later age. And so, you know, for our parents who had children earlier or were thinking all of these different things, they're like, oh, something is wrong with you. And, you know, nothing is wrong with us. But that's what society has taught us, that you get married and you have children and that's it.
But I think we need to normalize just people being what it is that people actually want for themselves. Because there are some women who feel like, okay, maybe I don't want to go to college. Maybe I just want to be a stay-at-home mom and raise my children. And then there are the other women who's like, okay, I want to go get a degree. I want to start a career. I want to hit the pavement, and then I want to start a family. But who's to say which one is actually ideal or right?
But I don't think it's even an ideal thing. I think it's a less normalized letting people do whatever they want to do, right? That it's not a timeline on when you should or when you shouldn't do these things. And whatever your timeline is, run your race. Like, that's at the end of the day, run your race. If your race looks like you having your first baby at 38, that's your race, and it's for you to run. You know, like, versus, oh, okay, somebody had, like, I know even with me, sometimes I think, like, I lost my grandmother when I was 22, and that, like, broke my heart, right?
Yeah.
But at the rate that I'm going, my mom is going to be that same age. My mom is 60 right now. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm 28. How old am I? I'm 27.
When you purposely stop forgetting your age because you're getting closer to 30?
I mean, because I tell everybody I'm 25. Like, I am 25, period. And so, you know, just thinking about that, I probably won't have any children until the next 2 years. So I'm at 30. She's at 62, right?
Yeah.
And so thinking about my 20-year-old child, she will be 82.
But if you go back to thinking about your list, right? So, like, when I made a list, it was probably, like, 2014. I was just graduating undergrad. And my list looked like, okay, in the next 2 years, I'm going to have a husband. And then 2 years after that, I'm going to have my first kid. Then we're going to travel the world. We're going to do all of these things, right? So, if you think about your list today, do you feel like you manifested that list, or did you have to tear it up and start over?
I mean, my husband and children aren't here.
Oh, so that was actually on your list?
Yeah, definitely was on my list. If it was up to me in my old thinking, I'm not sure how I really feel about it now, and I haven't put it on my list in a minute, so I really need to go back and kind of reevaluate that. But if it was up to me, I would have met my husband probably around 24. We would have traveled and just enjoyed ourselves for, like,
I thought I was going to have my husband in college too. Like, I was going to meet my college sweetheart was going to be my husband. But maybe,
you gotta think you graduate college around 21, 22. So those 3 years in between.
Them 3 years in between, but when you go to college to make networks, connection, and you meet people. So you see the cute little people who post their engagement photos on their college campus, and you be like, dang, why I ain't find love in college? Because that just wasn't my life. Like,
it wasn't mine either. And so, I mean, technically I'm off track, honey. Let's just say that. Let's just say that because I won't be done with my PhD until I'm 32.
Yeah.
So that's really throwing everything off, right? Because not throwing everything off, but it looks differently because on my list, I would have had my PhD by 30. So I'm technically 2 years. I'm like,
girl, that's not even a big enough margin of error.
For me, it is.
It is not. Like, it's not.
My ovaries are getting older.
I can't.
And so technically, I haven't met the husband.
Yeah.
I don't have the children. And so now I do kind of feel like I'm going to have, what is it, like the Amish twins when you be pregnant 2 times in a year?
Moving along. Like, not doing it. Like,
because I need to have my children and then get back to my life. Like, you are like a substantial part of my life, but at the same time, I still have other things that I need to accomplish and achieve outside of being a mother.
I don't know. I think for me, I kind of like the detours that life has given. Like, I don't know. I feel like even though as much as I would have wanted to go by this list, I think my life is playing out better without the list.
Oh no, you know God's plans are better than our own. I can't imagine like the way that I like to take naps.
No,
sleep.
Not even that. Like if you would have. You know that quote to be like, thank God that he closed that door. Or if I would have married the person that I thought was going to be who I was supposed to be with, or those, even in friendships, not even just in marriage, I would have been a completely different person.
We all would have.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, I think I'm going to thank God in this moment for the closed doors.
No, really though. And then I also think destination happiness is not only like that list, right?
Yeah.
But it's also like, I can't wait until the weekend so that I can get through this week. I can't wait until I go on this trip to escape from everything.
And something so small, but like it's like a big thing in my life now. Like, you know, the quotes that even say like, don't wait until a special occasion to wear your best outfit, like dress up and show up every day. I wasn't that person. Like, you know, like I used to sweatpants or baggy jeans and a cute top. That's what I would do. But now I feel like more of an urge or a desire to get up and make myself look like something.
Yeah, you know that's me. That's all. I live by that.
It just takes too much time. But yeah, now I do.
It's showing up. Like, and I think not only like for the people around you, but showing up for yourself. Because let's be serious. When you look good, you feel good. And everything that you do flows from that. And, you know, that energy that you have within yourself that nobody can really mess up because you know you look good.
Okay, so that's still another part of destination happiness because, side note, just because I've been seeing it on social media all day, people be feeling like they got to get their bodies done and then they're happy in terms of inner appearance or what you actually look like physically. That still could be a destination happiness.
It can.
Like, I won't feel good until I got a Coke bottle shake.
And I think it's not a problem. Like, personally, I don't think it's a problem with going to get your body done. Yeah. But I also think that most people who go get their body done, you also need to go to therapy as well because you need to really figure out, you know, those other issues that are underlying outside of like your body problems. Like, why don't you feel like you're enough? Or, you know, and not that everybody doesn't feel like they're enough. Some people just want their stomach sucked in. But I think if it comes with like,
if it can come with some abs, I might sign up. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Like, if it comes with an alter ego, like you change or you morph into this person because you get your body done. I think that's what's kind of problematic. I do too. Like, you just turn into a whole different person and you just embody this different spirit, right?
Yeah.
Because I could imagine, like, if I have children and I decide, like, oh, I don't like my stomach, maybe I will go get my stomach done. So, like, I'm not against it. I don't feel any type of way. But I want to make sure that those women are still taking care of their mental health, you know.
You got to say women and men because, you know, men are doing it too. You didn't say that? You feel like that's wrong?
No.
Destination happiness. Maybe the man felt like, you know, he ain't going to feel like he's, you know, the catch until he sucked some fat and made some abs.
Okay.
I'm just saying you have to say men because men do it too.
Yeah, I mean, but I just hope that as well as taking care of their outer appearance, that they'll take care of their mental as well.
Yeah.
And think about those issues that's also attached, or some of those childhood traumas that, you know, may still be in their subconscious that they aren't necessarily thinking about.
Because it's like a rabbit hole. Like, when I feel like, well, yeah, when you think about destination happiness and you think about the idea or the fact that you're just never satisfied, because that's really what it is. You're never really innately satisfied with everything that you've accomplished or anything that's around you. I think that that's one of those things where you really got to sit back and ask yourself, like, what about my life right now is just so bad? Like, why can't I celebrate that?
I don't know. I beg to differ. I think that's like maybe one part of it, but another part of it is really like thinking about, I have to achieve. It's kind of like a achiever's thing that you just got to keep going. Like that the world doesn't necessarily stop, and that it's an adrenaline rush. It's almost one of those things where you feel like, okay, I did this, now what? Like, you start twiddling your feet.
But okay, because you said you subscribe to this personally. So do you feel like you do that because, is it a high from like the congratulatory wishes?
No,
is it like
what?
So what's the high?
Celebrate. The high is that to say it's almost bragging rights, but you don't even. For me, I don't even want to brag about it. It's almost one of those things that it's an intrinsic motivation to say I did it, because so many people. It may even be one of those things. So many people said you couldn't do it, or you couldn't do it your way, or that, you know, even being a black woman, of breaking down these barriers, or being able to say, oh, I was the first person in my family to do this. I think it's not a problem with, like, I think that's also a achievers culture that we're talking about as well.
Definitely, because I don't think I'm a part of it.
And kind of mixing it with this destination happiness, and I think destination happiness is fake. Like, it doesn't necessarily exist, but it's easier for you to just focus and say, once I get to this place, I'm going to be happy.
Yeah.
And for me, like...
But you can think, you think about how many celebrities or how many people with money or success are just unhappy.
But that's the thing. Happiness, like, for me, is temporary, right?
Okay.
And so happiness comes and goes. I think like happiness is one of those emotions that is here and there. Like, you don't always feel happy.
Right.
But joy is one of those internal things. Joy is on the inside of you, that you feel good about what you're doing, and you're able to really just, you know, soak in that you can have joy in the midst of grief. You can have joy, you know.
Definitely. Peace in the midst of the storm.
Yeah, and you can have joy in the confusion. But happiness is one of those things that, you know, you temporarily get sometimes.
But do you not feel like it's a choice?
I think joy is a choice. I don't think happiness is always
I feel like happiness is a choice. But you know, there's some studies that say that you can take, like, literally you can do tricks by rubbing your ear and doing these different things that'll just instantly make you happy. And release release
the chemicals into your body that does that. And that's why I feel like, you know, it almost...
You know what? Not trying to be funny, but I'm going to try that. The next time I'm sad or I feel like I'm about to cry, I'm just going to touch my ear and do that little trick and see if I feel happiness.
Where'd you read that?
I don't know what book that was, but it was in a book. And then now, it wasn't in a book. I'm sorry. The acupuncture lady, she did a TikTok and she was saying, oh, are you feeling sad? Did you know that? Blah, blah, blah. Like, do this trick and instantly feel happy. I think I'm going to try it.
Yeah, I mean, because literally, like, the body is amazing. The body can really release all of the happiness serum into your body because it's already there. It's in your brain cells. It's there. Even thinking about, like, people taking melatonin. Melatonin is already in your body. That's what makes you sleepy, but you need sometime an extra dose because of sometime, like, the anxiety or the things that you're going through. And so I think that sometime, like, you can be just like you go in and out of happiness in a day. Like, you may be sad. You can
experience. I'm about to say you can experience many emotions in 24 hours.
Yeah, and I feel like I will always have joy.
Definitely.
I don't feel like I'm always happy.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm saying when I'm saying that I don't think that
they're interchangeable, because some people use the words interchangeably.
I don't think it's interchangeable because, like, I could say, like, I wasn't necessarily happy today. Like, nothing just made me happy.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a bad day.
Okay. That's
right. And it wasn't a happy though, you know. And so I don't feel bad for that. And then when you say, like, oh, the destination happiness, it's like I'm waiting for this thing to happen until I can be happy. Right? I'm waiting on this. And so I wouldn't say I'm one of those people that like I'm waiting on tomorrow to be happy because I don't have to work tomorrow. I'm waiting on a new year to be happy because everything is going to go away. I'm definitely not that person.
But you are the achiever.
Yeah, that I'm like, okay, let me get here first and then I'm going to celebrate. I think I'm more of like the one like I'm going to celebrate when I get here. Like, oh, I don't make enough money yet.
I'm the one that's celebrating in the hallway. So we're going to celebrate all up until the point till I get to where I want to go. That's just how I am.
And I'm trying to embrace that thing. And I think that comes back to like the whole word of being humble. And I think like for me, I've changed my entire opinion on what that means.
Right.
Because normally for me, I would say humble is like not bragging. It's not being boastful. It's not. Yeah. But like honestly, what does humbleness look like?
I think that's I think you got to make that decision personally, decide what it looks like, because I felt like I was a humble person, but when I got certain accomplishments, I didn't want to share them because I felt like it was bragging. But then there was like humble bragging, and so then it was like, well, when do I?
What is humble bragging?
So I self-titled humble bragging when I was saying like I'm gonna share my blessings, like I'm gonna share what God has done for me, and I feel like that's still humble bragging because people called it's a bragging culture. So anytime you share anything that's like a win or anything like that, people are like, oh, you're bragging, you're boasting, and that's not necessarily the case. And so, like, even when they say, perfect example, those when they be like, don't tell everybody what you're doing, just do the work in silence and then come back. I'm not that. You know I'm not going to do that. I'm going to tell y'all what I'm doing in the process so you can get excited. And when it's here, you're going to see it's done because I'm not going to. I feel like when you feel like you got to always keep something in silence and not do it, it's like, I think there's a slight fear there that you're not going to accomplish it. So you just sit there and you be quiet until you do it. And then it's like, okay, I did this. But I think for me, it's like, I'm going to do it regardless. So I'm just going to put it out there. Y'all going to see me doing it. Then it's going to be in your face when it's finally done.
Yeah, I mean,
and I don't feel like that's bragging. I feel like I'm celebrating moments and I'm including you on the journey. Maybe it's inspiring. Like, I don't know. Like, that's not bragging.
And that's what I'm saying. I think everybody just kind of views it differently. And I think especially in the social media world where you see all of these people accomplishing different things at substantial rates and the whole comparison piece. And then, like you said, what if I fail?
Yeah.
You know. Nobody's posting their failures. Like, nobody is out there just like, oh, you know what?
You can find, I'm going to advocate for the social media folks. You can find some people that are transparent in that way, but then people don't like they post. The same way if people crying in the hospital bed and they post that picture, people be like, oh, you just wanted attention. But that was me sharing something bad happening in my life and y'all just judge me for it. So, like, but yeah, I follow what you're saying, though.
No, and I mean, I think if you subscribe to those things and you compare yourself to people, then you're kind of left. You're left empty, feeling like, oh, that person bragged or this person is doing too much and this person is saying. But all it comes back to is internal conflicts. Like, you have conflict with something within yourself that when they ignite those things in them, that you feel some type of way, that you feel like, oh, they bragging too much. Oh, they feel. And I think for me, people have said that, like, my entire life. I have never been one of those people who have been boastful or, like, just bragging, da-da-da-da-da, but I'm always well-dressed. You know, I
feel like that was just us growing up in general. Like,
yeah, that people are like, oh, y'all think y'all are that.
Yeah.
They think they this. They think they that. And really, you know, it came from getting out of our hometown and our environment to really figure out, like, all of that's just noise.
It is.
Like, and that's your opinion of me. Like, thank you that you think that I think I'm all that. But if I don't think I'm all that, who will?
I agree. You're supposed to toot your own horn.
And I don't. And so that's why I'm still like, they going to say what they want to say regardless. Like, I'm not tooting the horn. I'm not doing all of these things. Like, you already know when stuff happened for me, I let y'all post it. I let whoever want to post it, whatever. I'm not the first person to post it. And so I know, like, I felt like it's been a disrespectful thing to God because it's also a part of my testimony. It's a part of my journey and who I am that I don't necessarily show his goodness because most of the time anything that happens to me has a story and some background around it with his grace all over it. And so for me, I'm kind of like, okay, God, I don't want to disappoint you type of thing. You know, let me, and I do share with people around me or like, you know, if I meet somebody and I feel an inclination to like, tell them about a certain part of my story, I do. But I struggle with that whole, like, you know, posting social media, telling people this, and I don't know.
So do you think, well, I feel like the common thread in this is that destination happiness is attributed to internal issues. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Like, 'cause
I mean, I think that's a conclusion that we can draw, and just figure out and encourage people to be more present, to love on the people that are around you. Stop giving reverence to haters, to
and to
whoever.
still give yourself grace, because
Yeah.
like I think, you know, just sitting in the moment and stopping, not necessarily to smell the flowers. We need a new quote, because I kind of hate that, but I know people say it a lot. But like just to sit in the moment and just be quiet, be still, like we said before, like be still and just look around and count your blessings, like big or small.
Yeah. And for me, like the biggest thing, and I'll keep saying it, is like run your own race. Like
Yeah.
you run your own race and you're in your own lane, and you're not looking left to right to figure out, you know, who's on the side of you, who's not on the side of you. Everybody that you need will be behind you, pushing you forward, you know, and helping
Yeah.
you and cheering you on your journey, and making sure you
Yeah.
know that you're good.
And I think that's why I never subscribe to like the whole competition type thing, because I do feel like you said, when you're running your own race, it doesn't matter. So even if 5 or 6 people are doing the same exact thing that I'm doing, they're still not doing it in the way in which I'm doing it. Like, you know,
Yeah.
because nobody is you. So it's your spin, your take, and how you show up and produce whatever it is that you're doing. And so I think that's why I never subscribe to like competition either. And like you said, you pay attention to your own race. You don't look to the left or to the right, but you look within, so that you continue to go forward, because that it just makes more sense and it's less stressful. Like,
I mean, I think it's hard not to though. Like you have all of this stuff in your face. Like as bad as I want to Benz, and I see people posting these new cars every day, I'm like, oh my God.
yeah,
You
they
know,
be nice.
and I'll see them riding down the street, and I'm looking left and right because I'm like, oh, you know.
But I feel like it's inspiring for me. It's not like I'm defeated, or I got to do more. It's more like, that's nice. I might have to get that when I get that bag. Like, you know.
And so for me, I don't compare. I don't feel envious. I don't feel like it's anything that I want, you know, to take from anybody. I want to clap. I want to enjoy all of the people around me. But I'm almost like, damn, what bag do I need to? I need to get to a bigger bag.
No,
I'm in a
but
bag
I
right
feel
now,
like
but
that's
that ain't motivation for me.
But I feel like that's healthy. Like, it's okay for you to go back into your mind when you see something that you want to see, that you want for yourself. It's okay to go back in your mind and just be like, okay, dang, like, what can I do in my life right now that'll help me get to this bigger bag to get this? But that's still destination happiness.
Right.
So
Because what are you going to do in the meantime?
get the bag. You gonna work.
But what if
In that scenario, you're going to work.
What if it takes 10 years to get the bag?
You need another bag, multiple streams of income. I don't feel like it's gonna take me 10 years to get to one bag. Like, you need a couple sources.
Run your own races.
I am. You need a couple sources.
Everybody's race look different. So if it takes you your 10 years to get to the bag to get your Benz, just know that's your journey. Own it. Savor the moments in that journey.
Mm-hmm.
But you like, that ain't my story though.
I'm just being honest. I feel like possessions, material things like that, I don't feel like it's that far-fetched to be able to attain them.
Agreed.
I mean, people scam, just not saying. People be scamming. People be leasing cars, like getting loans. Like, I'm not saying that you go do these things, but in this world, it's easy to get what you really want.
But you still won't be happy.
Yeah, I guess. I'm not saying I'm gonna scam nobody, but I'm gonna get this back.
I know that you won't scam anybody. Oh my God. I mean, as tempting as it is to do, you know, bad things to get those material possessions, I think it's also one of those times where you can kind of reset, reevaluate what it is that you're doing, and kind of figure those things out as of how you can get to those things. But in the midst,
don't sell yourself out or sell
Please
yourself
don't sell
short by
yourself.
trying to get to this destination.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I think that's the closing. No, actually, go ahead. You want to give an official closing statement
No.
to this conversation? Because I think it made me just think a little deeper in terms of maybe what I identify as destination happiness.
I think one thing is defining happiness. What does happiness really mean to you?
Or what does it feel
And
like?
what does it feel like? What does it look like, right? And so I know for myself, it's really like that peace, that I have come to peace with my past. Everything that has happened to me does not matter, you know, and that I've resolved the conflicts and the issues within that. I'm living in today, and I'm able to be present. I'm able to love on the people around me. I feel good about who's in my surrounding. I feel good about what I'm doing. I can go to sleep peacefully at night. But it's also that whole piece of, you know, it's not necessarily destination happiness, but it's that whole piece of, I am planning for my future, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm still happy right now.
No, it's okay. Like, it's okay to plan for the future. It's okay to celebrate the small wins. It's okay to keep pushing and going forward until you get to this dream life or this ideal goal of what it is that you want from the world. I think all of that is absolutely fine. It's just making sure you're not beating yourself up in the process.
Yeah, waking up every day, like,
yeah,
you know, you feel good. Like, I wake up every day.
No, you know, I wake up and I smile, I dance, I do whatever it is that I feel like in that moment because I think I'm just a high energy person. But I think that's a choice.
It is.
Oh, okay.
It is. But that, just because that looks happy, for me, that's the normal routine.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get up, I'm going to do these things. But that's not necessarily what I feel like. That's my contentment. That's what wakes me up in the morning, and that's what I know is going to get me started. But that's not my happiness. That's not the thing that's going to be like, yeah, that was a happy day today.
That makes sense. I don't have an argument or a rebuttal there.
This isn't a debate, sweetheart. So with that being said, bye, new friends.
We can't end it like that.
I know.
You just tried to cut me off.
You said you ain't arguing.
It's not an argument, but I just feel like the takeaway from this conversation, because like I said, it just made me think. I feel like the takeaway from this conversation needs to be for everybody to do some inner work.
Yeah.
Like to do some inner work and to be at peace with who you are and what you're called to do, and to trust the process.
Your most important investment is you.
Yourself.
Yeah.
I like that.
At the end of the day.
Okay. We can end it there.